Welcome to the pod. You are listening to What the Reality with me, Cache Roberts. Welcome to your Friday show. So, oh my gosh. Yeah, welcome to your Friday show. I don't know why I just got thrown off. Today's Thursday and I record, but yes, this will be out on Friday. We got a new hairdo. Do we like? I love. But yes, we have to get into the mess of everything. So on Tuesday's show, we didn't really have any reality topics because there was just so much on TV. And today we really have a lot of reality topics. Like, it's crazy. And I just really want to get into it. First off, we have to talk about Kandi Burruss. She did make a post today. It was on Amazon Live, and she was just talking about how she is struggling currently in her family. Let me pull up the tweet I found, and this was from, like I said, Amazon Live, but of course it got picked up on social media outlets. It's about Aunt Bertha, the one that known for her iconic phrase where she's like, it's Todd that decided to come with the BS, and then she did that whole spin. Like, I guess Aunt Bertha has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And this is what Kandi said on Amazon Live. She said, "We're having a really hard time because my Aunt Bertha has Alzheimer's. So, trying to manage that. If anyone's ever dealt with somebody in your family going through that and it gets worse, it's not easy. So it's a time." And she was getting obviously super emotional talking about this. It's so sad because we love Aunt Bertha. And so she was talking about the old lady gang and where they're headed. And I guess that's when she decided to kind of go like, you know what, we're actually struggling right now. So I don't know if old lady gang is open right now. And that's probably why they aren't open, or they're trying to figure out the food and everything, or decide if they even want to stay open because, Aunt Bertha is going through this. And, like she says, this just gets progressively worse. So, of course, our thoughts and prayers are with Kandi and her family. She got a lot of love and support on social media. So it's just so sad, y'all. It's really sad because, like I said, we all know Aunt Bertha as the one with the iconic tweet and the iconic post about Todd. So yes, our hearts and prayers go out to Miss Kandi Burruss over there in Atlanta. Some other news I wanted to talk about. Bravo is dropping a lot of shows right now. So we know we got the Gen Z show coming on. Rhode Island has been confirmed. So has Shaw's times the Valley, Persian Style, and also Ladies of London. Why do I feel like something else? Wife Swap was confirmed. But also Bravo sneak, it just, is this going to be on Bravo? This isn't going to be on Bravo, but this is the NBC. This is going to be an NBC series with Jimmy Fallon and Bozomo St. John from Beverly Hills, the girl boss. So I am shocked about this. This is apparently going to be a show. I'm looking at this article from People. It's going to be a show called On Brand. And I don't know if Bravo's going to play it, but so I guess Jimmy Fallon is opening a marketing agency and he wants to find the most creative executives, fill it with the most creative, clever, and competitive go-getters he can find. And I guess Bozomo will be there to serve as a judge and mentor to the show's team of creatives. So this is kind of a random show. Also, Bravo dropped they're going to be adding this show to Bravo, but I'm hearing it was already airing on Peacock. This show is called The McBee Dynasty Real American Cowboys. So I guess that was already premiering on Peacock, but now they're bringing it to Bravo June 30th. So that's going to be another show in the lineup. I don't know what day is June 30th. Is that going to be giving a Friday night show? Because it's giving Friday night show. Okay, it's going to be a Monday night show. I don't know. I don't know if people are going to watch that. I'm not going to watch it. But yeah, so those are two new shows they're dropping. Something else I also wanted to talk about with reality topics. This whole Sky Jackson versus her baby daddy. It is so sad, y'all. Let me bring up what happened. So I was reading a little bit about this, but she did file a restraining order, clearly following in the footsteps of, Halle Bailey and DDG. Not the same accusations by far, but So his name is DeAndre Bergen, I believe that's his name. So apparently she's filing a restraining order. She's saying that she endured, like months long of abuse when it came to him in this relationship. So I might post a picture of him. I might not. I got to see. All I know is that I'm not shocked about this because I do feel like, he was a psycho. He looks crazy. He's been in and out of jail. He is just not the cutest. Sky Jackson's a baddie, so I was always confused with that. But hey, so this is what she's alleging, but it looks like she was granted in the restraining order. Yeah, and also guys, he's from Cincinnati. Like what? Not Cincinnati. Okay, let me see. So she is fine. I gotta find everything. So I know she said there was a period where while she was pregnant, she would just endure months long of abuse. I think she was saying this was as far as like 6 months of abuse from this man. He's threatened to stab her belly while she was pregnant. And he also held a knife up to her while they were walking back to the car and was like, I'm going to stab you if you scream for help. That was a big thing. He also told her to drink a glass of bleach while she was pregnant to try to harm the baby in her. He did not want the baby to be born. He has multiple times slammed her head against the wall and essentially he slammed her head against the wall. He shoved her while she was holding the baby. Not good. Not good at all. He's done a lot. And yeah, so I'm pretty sure she was granted her restraining order. Let's see if I can I think those are all the details. But yeah. Yeah, the drink the bleach is really what got me. I think she was awarded this, and then I think they have courts on June 30th or something. But yeah, they're gonna have to go to court soon. But this is stuff that was happening while she was pregnant, even before she was pregnant. She said he was very violent with her. My heart goes out to Sky Jackson. A lot of social media chatter saying, well, why are the women, with these men? I don't know. What I do know is when you're in an abusive relationship, though, these people will isolate you, will, abuse you, and you will kind of do anything to kind of make them happy. And I can see that happening here in this situation. Just like I saw the situation with the Cassie Diddy situation, just like the Halle Bailey and DDG. It's clear that these women are above their pay grade. But, when you're dealing with narcissists, they kind of sell you on a dream and you think, oh my gosh, this is the one for me. You think you're the one that can change them. But I think the bigger question is, why do we let the men come off unscathed in these instances? These are examples of nasty, vile men that are abusive towards women, towards anyone, really. But this man has kids. You know what I mean? Like, he has other kids. So it's unfortunately a pattern. The difference between Sky Jackson and a lot of women is Sky Jackson is opened her eyes and she's like, you know what? I want a better life for me and my kid. And that's all we can congratulate and clap for moving forward. We can't really push the blame onto, well, why would she even do that in the first place? Like, be with this guy. You don't know, because abusers are very manipulating. We don't know what he was telling her. We don't know what their dynamic was. We know that she can't stand for it anymore. And I'm really happy that she's moving on. I'm glad that she's taking the steps to protect her and her kid. The fact that he's like, you should drink a glass of bleach. Bleach, y'all. Bleach is crazy. So I'm glad that that is being handled. Other news. Let's talk about Justin Bieber. Of course, I got to talk about Justin Bieber. Let me pull up his caption because he removed it. The caption is no longer on his Instagram. So Hailey Bieber, she's had kind of a week. So RHODI Skin is now going to be in Sephora. Super excited about that. I've definitely been wanting to try the glazing milk. I've tried their peptide lip balms. Don't know if they're for me because I don't know if they're supposed to be used for like super dry lips. All I know is when I did use it, like my lips did not feel good after, and I feel like some pimples or whatever. Like I don't know if it's one of those things that you kind of like, you know what I mean, like purge with, but I don't think you should for a lip product. But yes, so I'm really excited to try her makeup, all of that stuff, yada yada yada. Besides the peptide lips, but I don't know. I shouldn't have said that. Okay, so she's had a big week, and then of course she was in Vogue, and yeah, just talking about her legacy and everything she's doing. So Justin Bieber decided, you know, as a husband should, a famous husband, he's like, let me pin this message to my wife. Of course. Wait, I gotta see my camera freezing. Okay. Um, so this is what he said in that Instagram post, y'all. He said, yo, this reminds me when, and this was a picture of her on Vogue, and he decided to say this. He said, yo, this reminds me when Haley and I got into a huge fight. I told Hales that she would never be on the cover of Vogue. Yikes, I know, so mean. For some reason, because I felt disrespected. I thought I gotta get even. I think as we mature, we realize that we're not helping anything by getting even. We're honestly just prolonging what we really want, which is intimacy and connection. So, baby, you already know, but forgive me for saying you wouldn't get a Vogue cover because clearly I was sadly mistaken. Sadly mistaken? So, he said that. Sadly mistaken. I'm reacting to that because I didn't realize he said sadly mistaken. So we know Justin's not well. We know the Diddy Trials is going on. We also know that he said he's not a victim, or his lawyer said that he's not a victim of that. So I don't know, but if you see pictures of Justin Bieber recently, all of that stuff, he does not look well. He doesn't look well. So I don't know if this was a cry for help, but I do know this is a man that is jealous of his wife in her success. And he's clearly threatened with it because you felt so threatened by her success that you're like, you know what? Let me get my two fingers, my thumbs, write this long caption up. Let's not even congratulate her. Let's just say this reminds me of the time I told her that, you know what, she wouldn't be on Vogue because I felt disrespected. As a man, he forgot that part as a man. So he's like, you know what, and that's why you'll never be on Vogue, because he thought that was a way to get even. And then he's saying, you know what, we really just crave intimacy and connection. So now you're also dropping another bomb on there that's like, y'all clearly not in that safe space. And you know she's going through postpartum after having a baby. And you know, I don't think she has the support at home. So for you to throw that in there, and then you're like, well, you know what? I'm sorry I said it. I was clearly sadly mistaken. Sadly mistaken then also implies is like, I guess it was a mistake, sadly. Like, you don't even care that you said that. What I see here is a man that is threatened by his wife's, I keep wanting to call her his girlfriend, even though I know that they are clearly married. I don't know. It's giving me girlfriend, boyfriend vibes, but this is a man that is clearly threatened by his his wife's success, so much that he now has the internet talking about him. We all know Justin Bieber. So of course, when you pin this message, we're going to be like, oh my gosh, Justin Bieber doesn't support his wife. When maybe it wasn't really that. Maybe it was like, oh my gosh, like my wife right now is popping more than me. I'm not making any music. I'm not in the studio making any beats. Maybe there's a little jealousy there. Do I think he should be jealous? No. Why would you be jealous? But I don't know. It's very interesting to me that it's like, this is what you decided to post. And it just shows how insecure he is. And it just shows how, like, you know what? The men never really want to see you win. But it's so narcissistic and it's so manipulative because it just is like, there wasn't enough attention on you in that moment. So you had to make this caption so that, you know what I mean? It had to be about you. Then it was like, okay, I'm satisfied now. Now people are talking about me. But you know what? If you ask me, does this shock me? No, it does not shock me because, like I said, this is another insecure man about his relationship, about his career, about his success. Now his wife is doing good things and he's like, let me get out here in the press. Let me say something a little screwed up and then let me take it back. And then when I say take it back, he didn't even say anything in regards to it. What he did was change the caption. He took it down. And then he's like, he used this emoji where you're just like, I don't know. And then I think he used like the tongue emoji, like the one sticking out, like the, and then he used a heart or something. And he was like, he just changed it quietly. What I do find interesting is how Selena Gomez went to her story, and I'm not a Bieber, a Gomez. I'm not into any of that, okay? I'm a pop culture girl. I'm a housewife girl. That is something else I don't touch. But she went to her story and she was just like, you're recognized, you're seen. And then she was like, you know who you are. And then she also liked the image of RHOA being in Sephora. Rare Beauty is in Sephora. Rare Beauty, is that in Ulta now? I don't know. I just know Rare Beauty is in Sephora. So now that RHOA is going to be in Sephora, I think she was congratulating her on that and then also reacting to the stuff. And people are saying that was messy because Selena, you don't like her 364 days of the year. On that 365th day, you're like, oh, because Justin Bieber is in the media, let me get my 2 cents in and let me tell her, you know what, you can leave this man if you want. We're not bonding over that, Selena. We are talking about the fact that she is in Sephora. So for her to kind of give her some unsolicited relationship advice, like, you know who you are, I see you, we see you, or whatever, like, we're with you. Like, it's like, girl, where was this energy at? Like, y'all don't like each other. Don't kind of weaponize what this man has said to kind of like be like, I told you, this is the type of man you're dealing with. I don't know. Let's keep it moving along. Okay, Frank Ocean just teased 3 new albums. About darn time. It's been over a decade since he dropped Ocean. It was Ocean, wasn't it? Y'all, let me make sure because it has been long. Or Chanel Orange. It's been over a decade. Okay, it was Blonde. I'll say Ocean. That's his last name or whatever. So 2016 Blonde. It's been nearly 10 years, and then Chanel Orange was 2012. I'm looking forward to it. Frank Ocean has the vibes, nice kickback vibes. This would be amazing if it came right in time for summer, because that would be a hit for the summer. What else is happening? Kid Cudi is testifying, y'all. So he is testifying. I'm gonna give you guys some updates on Tuesday, but I do know they did the raid at Diddy's home, Miami mansion, took pictures, drug. What is the word? I don't know the name. I'm not going to say it because I feel like I'm going to sound dumb saying it. But drugs, there were stripper heels, all the same size. A lot of drugs. I got to look at the pictures, but it looked like just a lot of drugs and stripper heels. I got to look. Also, so Kid Cudi's testifying today, and he is confirming that his car was blown up. We also got pictures of that. I might put that here on the screen. Or I might wait until Tuesday when I really get into that, because I'm going to do my Diddy update next Tuesday before we get into Atlanta, which is winding down. Some other reality topics. GloRilla got a nose job. She gave in. She was like, let me get a nose job. My nose is too big. GloRilla had a distinct nose. The nose job is still healing, but her nose looked the same to me. I mean, it do go a little more sharp, whatever, but her nose is very distinct. There's not really much you can do with that. There's nothing wrong with her nose, but I'm just saying, people are like, oh my gosh, she got a nose job. I personally wouldn't have noticed because I don't think it looks that different. Like I said, she would have to literally come out with a skinny AF nose for me to notice, because I was just like, oh, okay. And I didn't know if it was also because she didn't have any makeup. She did confirm it with her tweet saying, and did. GloRilla's also beefing with Megan. The whole hip hop industry is beefing with Megan Thee Stallion because they think she lied on Tory Lanez. For some reason, him getting stabbed in prison has made people want to attack Megan Thee Stallion again. Megan Thee Stallion's lawyer did not have time for this. He has the receipts. He has made a whole website dedicated to Megan Thee Stallion's case and all of the inconsistent lies Tory Lanez has told, because people are trying to get him exonerated. You have people like GloRilla reposting something and then using a Tory Lanez song, which I feel was very interesting, because you and Megan are cool. So Megan has unfollowed GloRilla on social media, as she should. People are saying, what kind of friendship is that if you don't want to talk about it? What are we talking about? What are we continuing to talk about, y'all? You guys don't believe Megan Thee Stallion. Like she's lying on some little black man that touched her. What? This isn't the 30s. This isn't a white woman screaming help. This is not. This is a black woman that has experienced something with a black man, and y'all are choosing to go against that. As if she is, it's like kind of starting this whole silver war of like, did Tory Lanez shoot Megan Thee Stallion or not? People are saying it was her friend Kelsey, and she knew that, and she just wanted to put him in jail because it was a bad relationship that didn't work out. I don't believe that. I believe he did shoot her. There's pictures, and if that is the case, why did he get sentenced to 10 years? It seems as though because he got stabbed, people are like, well, let's open this case back up and let's show how much Megan Thee Stallion is a liar. Ever since this situation happened, her not her fame, but I will say her support in the industry has really dwindled down. So it's very disappointing to see GloRilla she like reposted a quote or something and then used a Tory Lanez song. You have to be very conscious with what you're doing. And then she's saying she didn't even know, she don't want to get roped into no internet stuff. But I'm just like, you knew what you were doing when you chose a Tory Lanez song, GloRilla. Let's not act dumb. And then we got SZA in the comments defending her. But I want to say, like, I'm going to bring up the pictures because this Megan Thee Stallion lawyer has time. Her attorney, Alex Sparrow, laid out all of the evidence that's convinced that Tory Lanez did shoot Megan Thee Stallion. But I don't know why we're still talking about this incident that happened in 2022 just because Tory Lanez got stabbed and people want him free now. Speaking of people that are free, Chris Brown is now free because I guess he got bail, even though he's supposed to be in jail until June 3rd in the UK. I don't know if he's coming home, but Drake, Chris Brown, GloRilla, there was someone else, Ty Dolla $ign. These are all people that have now reposted Tory Lanez, let's free Tory Lanez, or like free Tory Lanez or something. I think Kanye West has too. GloRilla didn't repost that. I'm just saying she reposted a tweet about something in her Instagram story and decided to use Tory Lanez's song as the song for that story, which is very telling. But SZA is defending her. I don't know why we are still talking about this because it is so clear. It is so clear. Whenever you open Twitter, you just see some stuff, some headlines. It was just so clear what's happening. They're just all against Megan Thee Stallion. I think a lot of the industry is threatened by Megan Thee Stallion because she can actually rap and she's not talking about the stuff that like your other favorite girl rappers are talking about, which is like the typical sex and everything. I think Megan Thee Stallion talks about like her life and she's very vulnerable in her music. I think a lot of people in the industry are threatened by it, including the men, because the men use recycled lyrics and that's all they really got for us. They use the same stuff as copy and paste. It's all shared amongst the industry. People say Megan got the same flow, but at least if she got the same flow, she's talking about something different every single time. I logged on to Twitter today and I was just going on there to see what the people were saying about Summer House because we're about to recap Summer House and the Valley. I just want to talk about it really quick and where we go from here because it was the Summer House finale and it was giving series finale, I'm not going to lie, or like finale for a lot of the people on that cast. Logged on, found out Peter Thomas has turned himself in. Real Housewives of Atlanta, Cynthia Bailey's ex. He has turned himself in. I knew it was coming up, so he was sentenced to 18 months in prison for failing to pay employment taxes for his businesses, including those in Charlotte, Miami, and Baltimore. So this is for bar one. And yeah, so he got 18 months, and then I think he got 2 years of custody. I'm going to put up what he said, but he said, all my people told me not to post this, that I am crazy if I do. I am not crazy, just real AF. The first thing I must say to all new business owners, please pay that withholding tax. You do not want to be in the position that I am right now. The law is the law. It's not easy for us Black men, especially in my industry. No bank fund, restaurant, bar, lounge. We have to put that S on us 100%. This is a new chapter in my life. It's called accountability and responsibility. My road to redemption. I have 3 Black sons, and I must lead by example also for my 4 beautiful grandsons. This life ain't easy, but we're resilient, and your granddaddy is a king. God bless. And by the way, I didn't just found God in my times of trouble. I was raised this way. Love PT. So he will be, and then it's crazy to me because this is like a 2-slide show, or this is a post, and it literally has the FCI Miami, FPC Miami. You won't be able to see that. I'm gonna put it on the screen. So he posted where he's turning himself in at, and it was like a picture of where you enter to turn yourself in for prison. So he will be in Miami, Florida, serving his 18 months. He might get out early. He did not pay taxes on his bars. And yeah, now he has to go serve his time because I think he just was spending that money that he was supposed to be paying. He got caught up in like the affidavit reads. He didn't pay it for Charlotte, Miami, and Baltimore. All his bar ones in there. I don't know what's gonna happen to bar one. But Cynthia was just on Nene Leakes podcast, so they did not talk about it. But another thing I found out when I logged on to Twitter today is that Dolores Catania from New Jersey is making a quick move to Rhode Island so she can star in the new show that is filming. I don't know why. What this is telling me is that Bravo clearly is not 100% sure with the current cast they have. I saw the picture. They all look alike. But Dolores is moving there and she's literally renting a house for the summer just to become a friend of. I mean, she's playing chess because we know Melissa Gorga and Teresa Giudice are waiting still for this phone call about New Jersey. New Jersey is not coming back for a while, y'all. It's not coming back for a while. Was it highly rated? Yes. Was it toxic? Yes. And it was the same old, same old. Same old, same old. People watched it to hate it. It's not coming back for a while. So I did think it's interesting because Dolores, she's not even going to be a housewife. She's going to be a friend of. But I would even argue, a lot of people argue, Cynthia Bailey would argue, being a friend of on these housewife shows is a better position than being a housewife. Because when you're a housewife, you have all these other expectations. Unless you're in Miami. Miami's rules and qualifications are different. All of the friends bring it like housewives. Like, I'm pretty sure they got similar salaries. But when you have these friends of on these other franchises, it's less pressure to do certain stuff. And I think this will be a good transition for her. Maybe she will become a full-time housewife. Who knows? We shall see. Finally, my last reality topic before we get into a little bit Summer House, a little bit of the Valley. I watch Happens Lives. Apparently word on the street is that Jesse and Erica hooked up. I'm talking about Jesse Solomon from Summer House. And I'm talking about Erica Jane from Beverly Hills. After a Watch What Happens Live appearance, I can see it happening. But how is Bryn Whitfield going to feel about that? Because I thought she was cozying up to Jesse. I'm shocked Erica Jane is screwing someone that is not 80 years old. So, I mean, hey, if she did get some of Jesse Solomon, shout out to her. I think Erica's pretty. I just think she's a B. And you know what? I used to love Erica. I go back and forth with her. Like, sometimes I like her, sometimes I don't. But I don't know. Erica and Jesse Solomon apparently have gotten it on. And finally, my last reality topic. Netflix and the documentaries, they don't stop. They are dropping a documentary for Ocean Gate's submarine fail. And they're talking about why it was kind of inevitable. I might watch that. I'm not a documentary person. Sometimes they seem so eerie to me, like thrillers and stuff. Like, I like a good movie, like a good thriller movie. Loved Sinners. I cannot wait until it's on Max, HBO Max now. But yeah, so they're dropping a documentary. Thanks so much for listening to What the Reality. You were tuned in to our Friday show. I'm thinking about some names for my show. Obviously, What the Reality, and I have my What's the Reality topics that I have like every 2 weeks when I dive into a topic. Next Thursday will be one. Really excited to get into that. But next Friday, but I've been thinking about something to call my Fridays or my Tuesdays or something. Yeah, they call my Tuesdays. So we shall see. We're playing with words. Let me know if you have any good ones. Because the Tuesday shows, I mean, they really are like the reality topics. Eventually, I'm going to get more consistent with what's the reality, but it's a lot of research, y'all, especially for certain topics I do. Let's get into this summer house. Yeah. Or should I get into the Valley first? Let's get into Summer House because I just talked about Jesse Solomon and Erica Jane allegedly hooking up. The finale was really bittersweet. Like there were just certain things where I'm just kind of like, is this the end? I was like Danielle. I was like, wait, is this the end? I don't know. So that's another thing that I want to bring up before we really dive into it. There was this tweet or there's this TikTok. Apparently, word on the street is that Summer House is eyeing a spinoff like The Valley, following Lindsay Hubbard, Paige DeSorbo, Amanda, and Kyle. Because like you can't do this forever. Sierra was not included on that. I don't know if she's gonna be a friend of. Sierra is not made for reality TV, in my opinion. She's only as good as she looks. And after that, it's just kind of like, girl, I can't really sympathize with you. Even though this episode, I did enjoy her being a girl's girl, which we'll get into. But the episode basically kicked off from the Freedom Dinner that the iconic Lindsay Hubbard threw. And what else happened? So yeah, Lexi was just saying how she does not trust Sierra. And if I'm being honest, her reasoning for not believing her, it didn't make sense to me. Just say like, I don't think you believe or you don't trust Jesse, but because Jesse's telling you this stuff about the women, just like he's probably telling the women about you, that's your reason you don't trust Sierra. Now, if you saw some stuff which she's not going to see until she watches this back, which is how flirty they were, that's a different story. Because I would not trust Sierra after that too. I'm like, y'all was too flirty and you knew that I was into him or he was into me as soon as he goes away. But also that is Jesse's fault. That's Jesse's fault because Jesse, when the cat's away, the mice will play. That's how he is. I find it really hard to believe that he liked her, y'all. I still don't believe it. But so it leads off with that. And basically Jesse like, well, I didn't turn the girls against you. Do you girls believe that? The girls are like, no. Wes tries to chime in and defend his friend because Wes has probably said 10 words all season. The girls are eating it up. They are like, yes, you probably should. Wes and Gabby kind of go back and forth because Gabby, two things can be true. I also don't think production is utilizing Gabby. I think they cut a lot of her scenes just like they cut Emerald. We didn't even get a goodbye from Emerald. I do think it's interesting when Gabby tries to pipe up. It kind of reminds me of Gertie from Miami. I'm like, can you just be quiet? Like you try to pipe up and then defend your friends. And I get that. I love that because who else is going to defend them? Nobody was defending Lexi at that moment. But I also feel like, Gabby, what are you doing here? I just feel like they really screwed over Gabby. I don't think she'll be back. They really minimized her scenes. And whenever she does kind of talk, it's just kind of like, why are you speaking? But in her defense, no one's defending Lexi. And that's the tea. That's the real tea. So she's like trying to defend her. Wes is like, well, it's hard for you to have an opinion. In his confessional, he didn't say this to her face because Wes is a confessional king. He don't talk in scene, but he'll talk in the confessionals a lot. But he was like, it's kind of hard for you to have an opinion on anyone's relationship when you've never had a relationship in the house to be judged on, which I also understand. But Gabby's just a girl's girl. And no one else was defending her in that moment. Lindsay was eating, and Paige and Sierra, they don't like Gabby. They don't. I think Amanda does. I don't think we know Paige. We know Sierra doesn't. And then we know they kind of flock together, her and Sierra. So what else happens before we get to some big revelations? So Lexi says she does not want to be cool with Jesse. Jesse's very flirty with girls at the party. Girls that I'm shocked were entertaining him. Definitely because they knew they were on TV. If I see someone like Jesse, I'm running the other way. Don't look at me. Don't talk to me. That's a scary looking man. What else has happened? So I said the girls really rallied around Jesse because no one checked on Lexi besides Gabby, and I will say Lindsay and Kyle. And I said this because I watch Happens Live. I don't think Kyle likes Jesse. I think he sees right through him. I think it's very evident. It's very clear. So Yeah, Lexi calls out Jesse, says she doesn't want to be friends with him. It's not giving that. I don't blame her. It's a respect thing. So they have a talk, all that stuff, yada, yada, yada. Jesse is flirting with some girls. Sierra gets the broom. She's like, I gotta get rid of some stuff. I gotta clean this house out. And she is sweeping the girls away. And that's when I'm like, this playful side of Sierra, that's real. That's what I love. Cause I'm like, that's something I would do. Like, let me sweep this dirt out of here. And she's like, I'm not about to have Lexi see this, whether Lexi trusts me or not. It's kind of like, no girl wants to see that if we just broke up. Have some couth, Jesse. He doesn't have any couth. He doesn't. Um, so yeah, I thought that was really funny that Sierra was doing that. Sierra's costume was good. Every man in finance in New York City is what's scary. And that's what she dressed up as, down to the blue eyes, down to the blonde hair. Well, I guess the men Sierra be messing with, but it is true. I hear any man in finance is a problem. You should run the other way. That was funny. Danielle. So we kind of get towards the end of the episode of the party. They depart the house. Also, we don't even get them like saying goodbye. So it's like, that's why it was really giving, we won't see you again, or some of you on this format. I'm really excited for the reunion because I'm interested to see what the announcement is. Jesse alluded to, I don't know, he's overhypes everything. I don't know if it really was something. But Danielle's talking to Kyle and Lindsay, and we get this shot. And these are arguably the OGs. At least Lindsay and Kyle are. So we get this shot, and then Danielle was around before a lot of these people too. And she's like, doesn't it feel like the end? And I think she's directing it towards Lindsay because she's pregnant, and also Lindsay's costume was so clever because she's in a Handmaid's Tale, which is like scary, but it's like the future. It's kind of dead on. But then she's also pregnant. So, oh my gosh, her and Sierra's, they were really good. But Lindsay's just like, no, I can do this forever. Lindsay's probably like, you are getting in the middle of my plans. Don't say this is the end. This isn't the end for me. I'll never admit that it's the end. Lindsay's a businesswoman. She's like, it's not the end. And Kyle's like, well, yeah, at some point. I mean, he said, I would love to do this forever, but I can't. It was giving montage. Like, they should have played a montage of them coming in. And I think the only reason they didn't is because they're still trying to figure out this new show they're going to be on. With VPR, when we got that montage, even though Lala Kent was narrating it, I was like, oh, this is the end. How do you come back from that? So people are like, why is Danielle asking that? She's not even on the show. It literally is the end for her. I don't think we'll see Danielle at all. I don't even think her and Lindsay that cool. I think Lindsay watching a lot of this stuff back. That's your op. That girl still dislike you. That girl is still mad hating. Whether Lindsay and this Turner guy end up, Lindsay has that unconditional love for her daughter now. And it's like Danielle and her are just in two different places. And it's like either as a friend you get with the program or you keep hating on it. And I think Danielle hates on it. And I think she's really jealous. Like, she's like, you're single momming it up. You're not with him. Like, I didn't know it was going to be like this. I don't know. I think this may be the end for Danielle. And I think she knows that. What else happened? So I just thought that was a crazy juxtaposition because if it is, I wouldn't be shocked because of the way it ended. So then I want to fast forward to the final talk where we get Amanda, Paige, and Lindsay. They come over to Lindsay. They meet Gemma. We also do get to see Lindsay become a mom, give birth, her arrive at the hospital. And I said watching it, it was giving very bittersweet because it's like, this is something Lindsay has wanted for the longest. Her timelines are crazy timelines. Me and Lindsay are very similar. Me and Lindsay are both Leos. And life just doesn't really pan out that way. I mean, Lindsay's nearing 40. I just turned 25, but I'm just saying it's like, I love Lindsay because of the Leo craziness in her and the timeline and the pre-planning, all this stuff. So it's just crazy to see her arrive to the hospital with her pillow. And I was also like, where's Turner? Because was he filming it? I know he doesn't want to be on TV. I was just kind of like, it was so sad for me to watch because I know Lindsay's always wanted like her Prince Charming and her daughter and like her family. And we're just watching her arrive to the hospital alone. I was kind of like, I don't know, but it was something also empowering about it because I'm like, period, Lindsay. period. I also got emotional when Amanda got emotional when she sees Lindsay's baby Gemma. It's just so sweet because it's like it really is like low key a montage of like everything Lindsay's been through right then and there. So yeah, we see Lindsay become a mom. I'm assuming Turner was recording it. He was there, but it was just crazy to see her arrive at the hospital alone. I don't know. I kind of wanted something different for her, but the thing is, Lindsay's a strong girl. Her and Paige are very similar, which is why I think it's best that they are friends. They're very similar. Paige is Scorpio. Lindsay is a Leo. Very similar people. So, what was I going to say? So then we get the talk between Paige coming over, asking about Lindsay, how motherhood is. Did she poop during birth, which I hear everyone does. And she said they didn't tell her. She probably did. They're not going to tell you. That's disgusting. Turner's also a doctor or something. So, like, I wonder if he was delivering the baby. She didn't ask that, though. But then she, like, tried to breast milk. I really enjoy seeing them friends. Now, I hope I don't get surprised at the reunion because Paige loves to come to the reunion with a vendetta against somebody that we didn't know all season. But Lindsay and her are still talking. They're still cool. So then we get the breakdown of the breakup. And also something before we get into the breakup between Sierra. I mean, why do I want to keep saying Sierra? Because she wasn't in the scene, which I thought was interesting. And this was the picture they used on TikTok to say, look, there might be a Summer House Valley spinoff. But before we get to the Paige and Craig breakup, Lindsay's very vulnerable. And she's like, look, he's very private, and her baby daddy and her boyfriend. And she's like, I don't know if I didn't have Gemma that we'd be together. And I think that's something we're going to see more at the reunion. Are y'all together? Are you not? I don't think they're together, but I think they probably have a good co-parenting relationship. So we get Paige talking about the breakup, something we've all been waiting for. They also did cut out the part where she said she got him cheating to other bees. I guess they cut that out of the show. I guess they didn't find any, or maybe she probably told him to just take it out. I think Paige has gotten a lot of media training, so now she's kind of like, I don't want to do this any further, yada, yada, yada. So she talked about it, and she just even looked lighter. And even Amanda was like, you just seem different this summer. And I guess she said as soon as she broke up with him, like her dad called her and he was like, you just seem to get your personality back. This man was weighing her down. And she talks about like Thanksgiving weekend where she's like, I guess he came over for Thanksgiving. She doesn't know how it got brought up, but he was like, do you even see us like hosting holidays with our kids? And she lied to him and said yes, but then she thought about it and she said, no, I don't. And she's like, you deserve someone that does see that. And she was like, she knew then and there. So then they break up. I think like right after Thanksgiving, he's like, no, we need to have a conversation. So he comes like in December, they talk, but it's still broken up. And he's like, I really wish you would have done this after you saw the ring. And then she's like, I don't even know if you're lying to me right now, because that's how manipulative he is and calculating. Like he would lie about something like that. So she was like, I don't know if you're even lying to me about having a ring. Either way, she knew at that moment, this is why I need to break up with you. So we have that. And then she just says like she just feels lighter, and she's just like she was so stressed out when she started her podcast tour and how she knew that was not the person for her. And then we kind of get this like group scene of them like just saying that they love us. Like Amanda's there, like I said, like we got Lindsay pumping the breast milk. We all see them in like these different stages of life. And then the scene kind of just ends, and then we get the reunion clip. And that's why I was like, it was high key giving the end for them. Like maybe we'll continue Summer House in a different direction, but let's transition these people out of this. And I think what's so interesting about Bravo shows is like it's clearly difficult for them to say goodbye to these A1 celebrities, these reality stars that have built Bravo, versus like, you know, a VH1 or like an MTV. Once the Hills was off, the Hills was off. They tried to make it happen 10 years later, but it didn't really happen. I feel like Bravo tries to keep these people around, even below deck, like bringing them back in a below deck watch right now. I'm on season 9 of the regular one. I've caught up all the seasons. I'm on Below Deck Mediterranean. Caught up on all the seasons of... There was another one. No, not Sailing Yacht. Well, yeah, I'm on Below Deck regular one. So I guess I was catching up with the Mediterranean one. I'm on a Below Deck kick. But yeah, it was just giving like, this isn't goodbye. You will see these people on another show, just probably not this show. And I think it'll be more based on the city show and like their lives in the city, because they only go to the summer house during the summer. And Lindsay's summers are going to look really different. Like, this is going to be Gemma's first summer upcoming and like her first baby summer. She's not going to want to be apart from her baby. That's why the Workers twins left, or the one, because she had a baby. And it's kind of like, it's not realistic to come to the summer, the whole summer, unless Lindsay like pops in or not. But it's like, you're kind of missing those developmental moments with your kid. So I don't know. It was giving like, this may be the end. But I also want to get into the valley right now. You are listening to What the Reality with me, Cashay Roberts. We are getting to the valley. The valley has stirred up some emotions in me. I don't like the way they are doing Danny and Nia. If Danny has a drinking problem, Danny and Nia handled it the best way they could off camera. Do think some things are off limits, and I think it's refreshing to see someone be like, you know what, I'm not about to throw my spouse under the bus for a reality TV show, something Brittany Cartwright would know nothing about. And to say, you know, they're hiding all of this stuff. Brittany, you were hiding Jack's problem for how many years? And you cannot tell me that the only reason y'all want to get real is because you got a TV, you got a camera in your face. You would have suffered in that marriage and would have carried on with life, depositing these little cameo checks, fine, making money from Jackson's Studios. Now you're trying to make a Brits bar. You would have been fine living your life like that until they were like, oh, let's get you back on TV. Now we got to produce a storyline. Everything with Jackson and Brittany gives me so produced and fake. So for them to sit up there and be like, Danny and Nia are fake. You never asked if he was drunk. You're whispering about it. You asked, where's Danny? He's tired. He's asleep. And then for Jasmine to kind of minimize his career and say, oh, he's exhausted from standing in a studio and recording for kids. Jasmine, what do you do besides talk crap? What do you do? We just found out that you was in The Girls. You was on The Bachelor. What do you do? You're a friend of. You're not a main one, honey. She's still upset that Danny touched her, groped her thigh, smacked Melissa's butt. I get that. And that's why towards the end of the episode, I like Jasmine, because she's like, you know what? Maybe I'm not over it, because you aren't. And no one's telling you to be over it. But now you're about to start nitpicking everything he does. I get it. It was weird. But I know people that get lit. He got lit. I do think the sneaking the tequila is one thing. And if they had a problem, they adjusted off camera. But you got them saying, you just trying to catch them up in something. Like, certain things are off limits for ratings in a show. I was talking to my friend and I was like, what do you think of that situation? And she explained it the best. Jax went to rehab. The star of the show is gone. So they need to kind of produce something. And that's why they targeted Danny and Nia so hard. People can argue Danny has a drinking problem. I don't think it's as bad as people are letting on. And maybe we're going to see something or maybe we're going to hear some stuff. I mean, they're on reality TV now. The thing is about reality TV, once you're on it, your stuff from the past comes out. So it's kind of hard for you to like hide all of this stuff. But I don't know. It was very disturbing to me to watch them literally try to attack a relationship. And I kind of want Nia to be a B now. I want you to kind of boss up on these people because they don't have your best interests at heart. They are using you for a storyline. They don't really like you. They don't. I think Nia is the newest in the group and they're saying, we just think you guys are pretending. What are they pretending about? He was tired and he did go to sleep. Okay, so you want me to also say, yes, he was clearly drunk. She didn't even have a problem with him being drunk. But my thing is, this man has 4 kids under 3. He is the only one that has a source of income. He says that Nia's stuff lets them vacation, which I also didn't like how he kind of minimized her role in like Miss USA and all this stuff. But it's the truth. Like, they're able to vacation and do all this amazing other stuff with her money. But when it comes to like the bills and stuff, like it's like he's a voice actor. She wants all these kids. I mean, I think they're done now. They're trying to move. LA is expensive. I don't know. I just feel like I understand why he would be so stressed. So when he comes to a trip where you're supposed to let loose, you're like, oh, let me catch up with y'all. I'm gargling wine. Disgusting. But he's like, let me get loose. Think it was weird how he closed the pantry. But he wanted to have a good time. And I think maybe Nia is the type to be like, look, you know where we came from and how difficult it was with your drinking and how it could be perceived. Let's not do this on camera. And I think that's probably why he shut the door. I don't think if he was trying to really hide it, I don't think he would have done it in front of Janet. And Janet, who can't even hold water. She can't hold nothing. Like, Janet is such a snitch. So it's like, I don't know how much he was trying to hide it, if that was happening or going on. But that really infuriated me watching, because I'm like, what y'all not about to do is because Jack's away, y'all trying to play with other people's marriages. And Brittany's very jealous that, like, people's relationships don't really suck. Even if he is having a drinking issue, they're not in a terrible place in their relationship. And I think she just hates that and she can't stand it. But it's like, they're fine. They gotten through it off camera. They're a strong relationship still at the end of the day. And it's kind of like she wants her to be like, well, you know what? Like, actually, this is what happened. Like, not everything is for the table. Not everything is for the table. And that's what I really like about Nia and Danny. That's what I really can appreciate about the relationship. But that's really what I wanted to give. I'm really liking Kristen in this new role of just like, you know what? Let me sit back and let everybody else make a fool out of themselves. Because that's exactly what Kristen is doing. I'm actually loving Luke for her. He picked out a ring for her. But I just had to get into that drinking thing because they are blowing it out of proportion. Like, I'm just like, they're blowing it. It's just like, we get it. But I think it would be a bigger thing if he's like about to go home and watch the kids. Like, he had just got in. He was driving back and forth from Santa Barbara twice because he had to go work. He couldn't take off like y'all. I mean, he got a real job. I mean, I'm just saying he couldn't really take off that much time. So it's just like for him to get there, he want to get let loose, all this stuff. And then all of a sudden it's Danny is super drunk. It's this whole thing. Yeah, he's drunk, but he went to sleep. He's not making an idiot of himself. He knows when he's had too much. He's asleep. So I don't know where this season is going to go. I don't know when Jax is coming back on. I think he sits out majority of the season because of his rehab problem. But I think maybe not, because I think he comes back next episode, or like he's getting out. He got an Airbnb and everything. But what we're not going to do is attack Danny and Nia. And Kristen says she got the receipts. She said, Jason, you're the last one that should be talking. Jason and Janet's relationship, never understand how they got together. But she said he takes the ring off when he goes out. And I 110 believe that, because I'm sorry, how did him and Janet even get together? I don't know. But yeah, that was kind of like the valley. I also did see on Watch What Happens Live, like Janet was on there and she did confirm how like she did not infiltrate the VPR group because, you know, she wasn't trying to intentionally like move to LA and infiltrate them. And she said, yes, she was a fan. There was a truth bomb. I find it very funny. There's a truth bomb when we want to know all these questions about Janet. The polls were not on Janet's side. She was shocked. The polls do not like Janet. I don't really care for her. I do see her as a super fan, as someone that's kind of like trying to be the Stassi of the group, but it's like, it'll always be Kristen. I think we're even enjoying Kristen in this different light, and people are mad about it on the cast because they're like, we need Crazy Kristen out. Even Crazy Kristen last year wasn't that bad, but you could just tell the tryhards. Even like Michelle, I think Michelle would have more of a peace of mind if she started prioritizing her daughter and not her relationship. She's like, I don't even remember his name, the guy that doesn't blink, saying he's going to break up with me if I don't get this stuff with Jesse under control. Maybe that wouldn't be the worst thing, because isn't this the same guy that said he would never date a girl with a kid? I mean, maybe it's not the worst thing. I think she's very much consumed with that relationship and trying to one up Jesse, when it's like, maybe you should just like focus on you and your daughter. You guys, you moved in your daughter with this man like a year later. I don't know. Michelle spends all her time trying to look Jesse look bad when she doesn't realize she's making herself look bad as well. Like, I'm like, I don't know. I low-key prefer Jesse at the end of the day. At least he know he got demons. At least he know he's still in love with you. At least he know all of this stuff that is wrong with him when you're over here pretending all the time. I don't know. But those are my recaps. a lot of stuff happening. The next episode, of course, will be our Atlanta Little Bravo Love Hotel. We're going to see what else is happening in these reality topics and whatever shocking news happened, because something shocking is always happening when you're listening to What the Reality with me, Kasha Roberts. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to comment, y'all. Comment and give me a 5-star rating, all of that good stuff. And check out my TikTok where I talk about this stuff even more in depth. Thank you so much for listening.